All right, good evening, folks, and welcome to another night of Goffstown Swim. We are here at the Goffstown Allard Center YMCA. It is a home meet for Goffstown. Competing tonight is Goffstown, John Stark, Dover, and Milford. 4 teams will be in the water. Starting out the first event, we have the girls' 200-yard medley relay. In the water right now, we have Dover and Goffstown. Dover being represented in the first lap with Angel Fendiana, and Goffstown represented by Hannah Laidlaw. Lane 3 is Dover, lane 4 is Goffstown. Goffstown, of course, wearing those nice red caps with the big G on them. Second in the water for Dover, Charlotte Ramsey, 15-year-old. In the water for Goffstown, Johanna Dillaway. And it looks like Johanna doing a great job making up some time on that breaststroke at the turn, heading back and keeping that lead. Third in the water for Dover will be Cassandra Corman. Third in the water for Goffstown will be Lily Cataret. And it is Goffstown first in the water. Cassandra Corman from Dover has a bit of a task ahead of her to keep up. Lily Cataret for Goffstown really opening up that gap between the two. On the plank for Goffstown is Tegan Bebequois, waiting her turn to get in. For Dover, it will be Emily Nelson taking over. And Tegan is in the water. Goffstown now with a very comfortable lead. And Emily Nelson for Dover is in the water. Tegan has already passed her turn and heading into the home stretch. And Tegan is touching the wall. It will be Goffstown taking this event. Emily Nelson for Dover, keeping her pace and coming down the home stretch. Joining us on the bench tonight, as usual, Rick Estano. Rick, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Jeremy, and yourself?
Doing very well, thank you. For our camera operator tonight, we have Daryl. Daryl is handling all of our videography duties for this event. We appreciate that. As a reminder, our videography teams and announcing teams are made up of all parent and community member volunteers. And Emily Nelson from Dover touches the wall. Heat 2 of 2 will be 5 teams in the water: Milford, Dover, Goffstown, John Stark, and a second group for Dover. In lane 3 for Goffstown will be Jessica Smith. Heading up the rest of her team will be Jess McGregor, Justine Watterson, and Jenna Sheeta. Lanes 2 and 3 in a tight race for the lead right now. Lane 2 represented by Elizabeth Wydra of Dover.
Looks like they came in pretty much identical.
They did. In the water now for Dover, we have Megan Donahue, 15-year-old. In the water for Goffstown is Jess McGregor, 17.
Jess is a senior this year. She's a co-captain of the girls' team. Next in the water for the girls' Goffstown team is Justine Watterson, who is the other co-captain of the girls' team. Goffstown has a slight lead. but Dover is gaining and cutting that lead significantly.
And Dover suddenly surged ahead there at that last 10 to 15 feet of the water. In the water now for Goffstown, Jenna Shida trying her best to make up some time with the freestyle.
Coming on strong is also the John Stark team in lane 4.
And it looks like Hannah White in Dover is at the wall. Next event, boys 200-yard medley relay. In the water will be 5 teams. Milford, Dover, 3 teams from Dover, Goffstown. Representing Goffstown will be Matthew Jones, Alex Estano, Elliot Anderson, and Parker Bell. They will be in lane 4. First swimmers in the water for the boys for each of the teams will be James O'Prey of Milford, Ethan Gygax of Dover, Ryan Long of Dover, again Matthew Jones of Goffstown, and James Weedy of Dover. This event will be starting with the backstroke. And at the horn, it looks like Ryan Long of Dover battling to take the lead. Lanes 2 and 4 in a tight race to stay together. Ryan Long is at the wall, followed by Matthew Jones and Ethan Gygax of Dover. James O'Prey of Milford in lane 1, a little bit of a struggle to get off the wall. And it will be...
Goffstown looks like they're going to come in second place. We've got Alex in the water for the breast.
Cam Foley in lane 3 for Dover is at the wall, but followed very closely by Alex Estano of Goffstown, doing a great job making up some of that time.
Alex Estano, one of the co-captains for the boys team, will be followed in the water by his co-captain Elliot Anderson, doing the butterfly.
And Noah Kerr is in the water for Dover. Elliot Anderson in the water for Goffstown. This is definitely going to come down to these two teams, lanes 3 and 4.
Strong butterfly by the Dover team.
Very strong. Wow, great showing. That Noah Kerr.
Parker Bell in the water for the last leg of the medley relay.
Parker, another Goffstown senior. Yes?
Yes.
I believe he is this year, right? Yep.
He is a senior this year.
Heading down the home stretch with the freestyle. Aiden Mahoney of Dover finishing up to take first, and Parker will touch for second. And in lane 2, it's going to be Adam Silly for Dover touching the wall. Lane 1 coming up behind him, which will be Lorenzo Poloni of Milford. And lane 5, Francesco Aversa, also of Dover. Oh, my bad. Sorry, lane 1 is actually still heading down. They fell behind a little bit. So Lorenzo Poloni again for Milford, finishing up his lap. From our vantage point this evening, lane 1 is a little bit of a challenge to see who's in the water, so I apologize if we may make a couple of errors in that lane.
Did we already make apologies ahead of time for any mispronounced names?
I haven't yet, but we should probably do that. That is becoming tradition. We do the very best that we can, not knowing many of these swimmers individually. Some of them are definitely a struggle to pronounce. Next up will be the girls' 200-yard freestyle. That's going to be represented by Elena Chan of Dover, Meredith Wood of Dover, and Jessica Smith of Goffstown. Jessica Smith will be in lane 4.
Jessica Smith, a freshman this year, new to the team.
Nice dive, and Jessica may be able to take the lead. Wow, that was a long lead in, but she has got the lead just barely. Touching the wall just ahead of Meredith Wood in lane 3. Opening up that lead just a little bit. She's now about a half a body length ahead of Meredith. At the turn.
During that initial dive, there is a technique or a theory, I guess you could call it. The longer you can stay under the water, the better.
Well,
but they do have to come up at a certain distance.
Right. And she may be proving that here because she is still maintaining the lead.
Yep.
Coming in just ahead of Meredith Wood of Dover.
So halfway through.
And
she still has the lead.
She does.
Slight lead.
You can see a little bit of fatigue starting to set in. And it's going to be a tight race. Actually, it looks like Meredith may be getting a little bit ahead of her. And she is. Meredith Wood of Dover taking the lead. She will touch the wall first. Let's see who executes the turn. And, okay, Meredith Wood is now about 3/4 of a body length ahead. And we have Elena Chan, also of Dover, who is fighting it out in lane 2. Yep.
So into the last 50, Jessica Smith is falling behind.
I don't remember. Does Adam put the timer up during the whole show? Where does he position it? Do you remember?
Most likely it'll be lower right.
Lower right?
Yeah, I believe so.
And coming into the final stretch of this heat, Meredith Wood of the Dover swim team will take first place. Jessica Smith will take second.
And that was initially a very strong showing from Jessica Smith. The fatigue definitely sat in those
It's the best time for Jessica.
That's very good.
Jessica coming in at a 2:22.32.
So a little over a full second better than her previously posted time of 2:23.66. Next up, boys 200-yard freestyle. In the water for Milford, Joshua Anderson, James Wheat for Dover, and Brady Mitchell for Milford. Joshua Anderson in lane 2 does not have a recorded time for this event. James Wheat coming in at 3:04, and Brady Mitchell at 3:10 for his last recorded. And Joshua Anderson with a strong lead in lane 2. A couple of body lengths ahead of James Wheaty of Dover.
The thing with seeding the swimmers with swimmers that don't have times is they get placed into these slower, earlier heats. And they could be a very strong swimmer, as we're seeing in this first heat.
Mm-hmm.
But without a time, they can't properly place them.
Right. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, and we're definitely seeing that here. Joshua Anderson, again, without a recorded time coming into the event, but clearly a very strong swimmer as he is taking half a pool's length of lead.
Yeah, halfway through the heat, the event, he's got Half a pool length, exactly.
James Weedy in lane 2, trying to maintain his second place lead, doing so easily over Brady Mitchell of Milford. So lanes 2 and 4 are teammates, Joshua Anderson and Brady Mitchell, both with Milford, and James Wheat with Dover. Not sure if that's Wheat or Weedy, so again, referring back to our prior apologies.
So Joshua Anderson coming into the last 50 yards of this event has a clear command over this heat.
This is going to be one to watch for sure in future events. He's got a pretty strong showing going here. And it will be Joshua Anderson of Milford in lane 2. Come in with a time of, if I'm reading that correctly, 2:22:38.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say 2:22 is a substantial difference over the 3-minute plus times of the other two swimmers. So I would expect to see him seated differently in future events. Lane 2, James Wheat of Dover. Recorded time coming into the event is 3:04:52. He is touching the wall at just over 3 minutes exactly. And in lane 3, Brady Mitchell of Milford. He's got a recorded time of 3:10 coming into the event. He will be touching the wall at 3:10:88. So he's just a tenth of a second slower than his time coming in, but a good showing by all three swimmers. Next up, heat 2 of the same event, 200-yard freestyle. Going to have Will Wheat of Dover, Andrew Bartolomucci of Milford, Alex Estano of Goffstown, and Brendan Lee of Dover. Alex is in lane 4. Looks like he's got some good competition in Andrew Bartolomucci of Milford. As they both touch the wall nearly simultaneously, Andrew is maintaining a slight lead, very slight lead. I expect Alex will be pacing himself through the first part of this event.
Alex is not known for his distance swimming.
Okay.
He's more of the sprinter.
Alex
So he
getting
could be holding off a little bit towards the end, but he can't obviously give him too much of a lead.
Well, that'd be hard to make up if he does, but he's getting a strong bit of support from his team members down here on the end of the pool. Got a group of about 7 or 8 of his team members down there cheering him on. But right now it is Andrew Bartolomucci of Milford with about a body length of lead.
About halfway through the meet, halfway through the event, he's got about 3/4 of a second lead over Alex. All right, the last 50. Andrew's got a significant lead over Alex.
And Will Wheat in lane 2 and Brendan Lee in lane 5, both of Dover. They will be pulling up the rear guard. Will Wheat in lane 2, touching the wall for Alex Estano coming in at a time of 1:59:63. It's just under 2 seconds slower than his recorded time coming in of 1:57:82. And Andrew Bartolomucci had a recorded time of 1:48 coming in. He was also about actually 3 seconds slower, coming in at 1:51. Will Weedy of Dover has touched the wall, waiting on Brendan Lee in lane 4. Brendan Lee of Dover. And he has ended the event. Next event, girls 200-yard individual medley. we will have 4 swimmers for this event: Erica Felshera of Milford, Elizabeth Weiger of Dover, Morgan Waters of Dover, and Audrey Eisenman of Dover.
With the IM, the swimmer does all 4 strokes.
Very tight race between 3 and 4, but in lane 4, Morgan Waters of Dover touched first and is maintaining a slight lead over her teammate, Elizabeth Weiger. Now moving into the backstroke portion of the event. Morgan Waters in lane 4 has taken a significant lead. She's about a body and a half length ahead of her teammate. Getting ready to touch the wall for the second half of this backstroke portion of the individual medley. That was a strong kick off the wall by Elizabeth Weiger there. She just propelled herself very powerfully off that wall. Picked up about a half a body length of the trail that she was on. But it is still Morgan in the lead.
Yep, still halfway through the event. Onto the breaststroke.
Morgan Waters not showing any signs of slowing down. She is just continuing on. Same can be said for Elizabeth Weiger, who is now touching the wall and into the second half of the breaststroke. They'll be following up this stroke with their freestyle stroke.
It does look like Elizabeth has made up some ground.
Morgan has touched the wall. And returning back for the freestyle, Elizabeth on her way behind her. This will be their last opportunity to try to close that gap for Elizabeth.
And it looks like she's actually increasing the gap.
She is. Difficult to say if Elizabeth is slowing down or Morgan is speeding up, but whichever way, Morgan has now increased her lead significantly. And it will be Morgan Waters of Dover in first place. Elizabeth Weiger of Dover will take second. And heading into the freestyle portion of their event in lanes 2 and 5 are Erica Felshera of Milford and Audrey Eisenman of Dover, respectively. Morgan Waters coming in at a time of 2:34.47, which is slightly slower than her coming in time of 2:32.68. And it looks like third place will go to Audrey Eisenman of Dover in lane 5. And fourth place will go to Erica Felshera of Milford in lane 2. Okay, next up will be the boys' 200-yard individual medley. Elliot Anderson in lane 2 will be representing Goffstown. In lanes 3 will be Noah Kerr of Dover, 4, Ryan Long of Dover, and lane 5, Ethan Gygax of Dover.
Goffstown versus Dover.
And in the water, looks like we have a very tight race between Elliot Anderson and Noah Kerr, lanes 2 and 3. Noah Kerr will touch the, well, that was almost a simultaneous touch between Elliot and Noah. But Noah Kerr has taken about a half a body length lead. And he will touch the wall first at the end of the lap. Yep, he does. On their return lap now, heading into their backstroke. It is still a race between Noah Kerr and Elliot Anderson. Noah Kerr is widening that gap. Very strong backstroke swimmer. He's at the wall. Elliot Anderson coming right up behind him. And they're in the last half of their backstroke lap. Noah is now maintaining a nearly 2 body length lead over Elliot Anderson. Following them up are Ryan Long in lane 4 and Ethan Gygax in lane 5. Noah Kerr now headed into his third event. And Elliott looking to try to close some of that gap. He's going to have to pull very hard to do so, though. The chanting of his team members at the end of the pool. Crowd of the Goffstown boys cheering on their teammate. And Elliott is at the wall, heading into the final half of his third stroke. Noah Kerr is still maintaining about a 2.5 body length lead, with Ryan Long and Ethan Gygax following him up in lanes 4 and 5. Noah Kerr is at the wall, coming in for his final stroke, the freestyle. Elliott is now touching, also coming into his final stroke. Noah Kerr has significantly widened the gap between the two swimmers. He is now almost a half a pool length ahead of Elliott Anderson in lane 2. And Noah Kerr will take the event, but Elliott Anderson of Goffstown will be second.
Elliott should have a best time coming into this.
Noah Kerr coming in with a time of 2:07 will end with a time of 2:12. Elliott Anderson coming in with a time of 2:29 will end with a time of 2:18. Wow, that's a significant improvement over his previous time.
11 seconds.
Nice job to those two swimmers. And it looks like it will be Ryan Long in third place and Ethan Gygax in fourth. Next event, girls 50-yard freestyle. We will have 6 heats in this event. Heat 1, Emily Nelson of Dover, Sabrina Smith of Milford, and Phoenix Irish of Goffstown. Phoenix will be in lane 4. Swimmers aren't staged yet, so we have a little bit of a delay. Looks like Phoenix is now ready to enter the water. And Sabrina Smith of Milford has entered the water where she'll be starting from. And they're off. Sabrina Smith of Milford taking an early lead. "50-yard freestyle, one of the faster events. And also
back.
one of the more popular, which is why they have so many heats. Sabrina Smith heading into her finish. Phoenix Irish of Goffstown is just about to touch the wall, make her turn. Very nicely executed. And Sabrina Smith is at the wall. Sabrina Smith coming in with a time of 48 seconds. She'll be ending this with a time of just over 43. 5-second improvement. It looks like Emily Nelson of Dover will be coming in second, followed up by Phoenix in lane 3. And Emily Nelson of Dover coming in with a time of 56.94, but she will end this event at a little over 1 minute and 2 seconds. Phoenix coming into the event with a time of just under 53 seconds. And she will be ending this event at, looks like a little over 1:21. Nicely done.
Good job.
Heat 2. Sophia Sestach of Wilton, sorry. That I think is a, okay. Hannah Champagne of John Stark. Annamika Usman of Milford, Julianne de Graffenried of Milford.
Excellent word pronunciation. I am impressed.
I apologize for the delay there. I got a little thrown off because that was the first Wilton swimmer that we've come up to in the event so far. I did not realize that that team was here tonight. In lane 3 and lane 5 is where we have the competition. Looks like lane 5 with Julianne of Milford is just slightly ahead of Hannah Champagne in lane
Stark.
3. And she touches the wall to come in first. Actually, yeah. Hannah Champagne taking first with a,
Lane 5 didn't get a time.
yeah, that's what's confusing me. Apologize for the stumbling over myself there, folks. It looked like lane 5 came in first, but they have it as lane 3. Heat 3, Naomi Prevost of John Stark, Angel Fendiana of Dover, Alyssa Sangilo of Goffstown, Charlotte Ramsey of Dover, Catherine Rayano of Milford, and Elizabeth Jacob of Wilton. 6 swimmers in the water. And the competition here is definitely in lanes 3 and 4 between Alyssa Sangilo of Goffstown and Charlotte Ramsey of Dover. Looks like Charlotte Ramsey just a slight lead ahead of Alyssa. And she will take the first at a time of 34 and some change, with Alyssa coming in at just over 35. Alyssa just barely beating her previous time.
Oh, yeah.
She came in at 35.48 and will end at 35.44.
Good job.
Heat 4, Maddie Duclos of John Stark, Tegan Bevaquah of Goffstown, Megan Donahue of Dover, Maddie Smith of Wilton, Rita Peace of Goffstown, and Cassandra Corman of Dover. Tegan Bevaquah is in lane 2 for Goffstown, and Rita Peace is in lane 5 for Goffstown. And the race is on. Looks like lane 3, which is Megan Donahue of Dover, is in the lead. And boy, it's hard to tell who's going to be in second. That lanes 1, 2, and 3 are all battling very well. But Megan Donahue in lane 3 will definitely touch first, followed up by Maddie Smith in lane 4, and Tegan Bevaquah in lane 2 of Goffstown will come in third place.
And then Rita Peace came in 6th.
Thank you. Heat 5. Phoebe Okola of Dover, Johanna Dillaway of Goffstown, Jenna Sheeta of Goffstown, Anna Ishak of John Stark, Justine Watterson of Goffstown, and Callista Chappelle of Milford. Johanna and Jenna are in lanes 2 and 3 respectively, and Justine is in lane 5. And the race is on between lanes 2 and 5. Lane 6. 2 and 6. That's going to be close. Lane 2
Looks
is...
like lane 6 got a slight lead. Yep.
And they did. Lane 6, Callista Chappell of Milford. Final heat. Jessica Smith of Goffstown, Jess McGregor of Goffstown, Elaine Danis of Milford, Ava Rondeau of Wilton, Sarah Ferguson of John Stark, and Allie de Graffenried of Milford. In the water, I won't even try to call a lead on this one.
Nope.
This is
Tight.
head-to-head, very tight coming up to the wall. And it looks like lane 2, which is Jess McGregor of Goffstown. She may have it coming down the finish.
I think lane 4 has slight edge over her.
Oh.
Nope, she pulled it off.
She took it. She pulled it off.
With a
lane
best
4.
time of 27.64.
Excellent. Jess McGregor taking that event. Ava Rondeau of Milford coming in second. Of Wilton coming in second. Next event, boys 50-yard freestyle. 3 heats. Heat 1. Ben Mayu of Milford, James O'Prey of Milford, Carter Duclos of John Stark, and Nick Cherest of Goffstown. Nick will be in lane 5. Swimmers in the water, looks like James O'Prey of Milford in lane 3 with an early lead, about a half a body length over Carter Duclos of John Stark. And Nick Cherest in Goffstown is third.
His battle, I think he's got second. I think Nick's pulled out a second place.
I think he has.
He had a previous best time of 39.54 and comes in at a 33.84.
Wow, fantastic time for Nick. Heat 2 of 3. Francesca Aversa of Dover, Patrick Gunter of Dover, Adam Silly of Dover, Alex Galarno of Dover, Ethan Edwards of Goffstown, and Lorenzo Paioni of Milford. Ethan Edwards of Goffstown will be in lane 5. And it looks like we do not have a swimmer in lane 4. So Alex Galarno of Dover, I presume, is the one not in.
Ethan is a senior this year, new to the team. And making good strides, learning the ropes.
He has been doing extremely well. It's been very fun to watch. Some of these swimmers that come in new like this.
I think he may be pulling off a second place finish.
Hey, wow. That's going to be close.
Oh, wow. So Ethan ended up 4th place with a 31.93, which is a slightly slower time than his best.
Heat 3 of 3. Riley Kenyon of Dover, Ryan Lau of Goffstown, Ben Fortier of Dover, Cam Foley of Dover, Matthew Jones of Goffstown, and Parker Bell of Goffstown. So we have 3 Goffstown swimmers in the water, lanes 2, 5, and 6. Ryan Lau is in lane 2, Matthew Jones is in lane 5, and Parker Bell is in lane 6. And it looks like Ben Fortier of Dover in lane 3 has the lead, but just barely. Good fight, good finish down to the wire. And it is Ben Fortier of Dover in first place.
So Goffstown swimmers took 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
I'm glad you can see that better than I. Thank you.
Ryan took 3rd. Matthew took 4th. And Parker Bell took
Great.
5th.
Next event, girls 100-yard butterfly. 2 heats. Heat 1 of 2, Hannah Laidlaw of Goffstown, Abby Houghton of Dover, and Lily Cataret of Goffstown.
I think we're taking a 5-minute break.
5-minute break. All right, folks, we are back from our break. Event number 9, girls 100-yard butterfly. 2 heats. Hannah Laidlaw of Goffstown, Abby Houghton of Dover, Lily Cataret of Goffstown. Looks like we've got Hannah in lane 2 and Lily is in lane 4. But it is Abby Houghton of Dover in lane 3 who has taken the lead. Lily is working to keep up with her, and Hannah coming up behind.
Both Lily and Hannah are freshmen this year, joining the team.
And it will be Abby Houghton maintaining her lead. Abby coming in with a time of 1:12.08. Neither Hannah nor Lily have recorded times for this event. Abby on her return trip to the wall. Lily fighting hard for that second place, and Hannah Laidlaw bringing up the rear guard. Abby again coming in with a time of 1:12.08. She's finishing this event with, it looks like, a 1:13.80.
Yep.
And Lily coming up behind her. Again, no recorded time. She'll be finishing this event at a little over 1:22.
And Hannah
getting to the wall, making her touch, and she will be ending the event at a time of 1:42.63. Heat 2 of 2, Jess McGregor of Goffstown, Maeve Hunt of John Stark, Morgan Waters of Dover, and Hannah White of Dover. Jess McGregor is in lane 2. Jess coming in with a time of 1:07.80. Strong dives into the water. It is Maeve Hunt of John Stark taking a slight lead over Jess McGregor of Goffstown. Maeve at the wall, Jess just touching for her turn. Lanes 3 and 4 are Morgan Waters and Hannah White of Dover, bringing up the rear. Although, in lane 5, Hannah White of Dover, making a very strong pace to battle for second place. Not quite there, though. Jess McGregor doing a good job holding that second place position, while Maeve Hunt of John Stark has a very solid lead, several body lengths ahead of Jess McGregor. Jess again in lane 2.
into the last 25. Jess McGregor has a slight lead, probably about a body length now, for second place.
And it is Maeve Hunt at the wall. Maeve coming in with a time of 1 minute. She will be
0.77.
finishing of 1 minute, 0.77. So just tenths of a second slower than her previous time.
Jess McGregor.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say Jess McGregor actually tied her best time
Wow.
at a 1:07.80.
All right. Next event, boys 100-yard butterfly. 1 heat, Ethan Gygax of Dover, Noah Kerr of Dover, and Alex Galarno of Dover. Dover versus Dover. And in lane 3, Ethan Gygax. Ethan coming in with a time of 1:13.
I think they got the lanes mixed up on this one.
I'm actually wondering the same thing myself because
I think Noah Kerr is in lane 3.
I agree.
And then
Looks like we got a lane shift here. Noah actually coming in with a time of 55 seconds, which is substantially faster than the other swimmers' times. So that would make sense that that's him in lane 3.
and if I had to guess, Alex
Galarno in lane 4.
in 4, and then Ethan Gygax in lane 5.
So a little bit of a switch up from our heat sheet. For viewers at home, that will occasionally happen. And the swimmer that we presume to be Noah Kerr of Dover, touching the wall at just over 57 seconds, about 2 seconds slower than his incoming time. Next event, girls 100-yard freestyle. We will have 4 heats in this event. Heat 1 of 4 in lane 1, Phoenix Irish of Goffstown. Lane 2, Naomi Prevost of John Stark. Lane 3, Elizabeth Jacob of Wilton. Lane 4, Hannah Champagne of John Stark. And lane 5, Sabrina Smith of Milford. Again, swimmers not yet staged, so slight delay. And Phoenix again will be in lane 1. Swimmers in the water at the buzzer. And it looks like Naomi Prevost of John Stark in lane 2, taking a slight lead to begin with. But Elizabeth Jacob of Wilton in lane 3 has snatched that away from her as they touch the wall. Heading back down, and it is actually Hannah Champagne of John Stark in lane 4 who is now pulled ahead. Hannah Champagne coming in with a time of 1:32.42. And she will touch the wall for her turn. And it is now a race between lanes 4 and 3.
And it is a close race.
That is a very close race. I will say Naomi Prevost of John Stark struggling a little bit to get off the wall, but once she does each time, she surges very well. But it continues to be Hannah Champagne of John Stark and Elizabeth Jacob in lane 3 of Wilton who are battling it out. And Elizabeth Jacob has now slightly regained the lead. This is going to be a battle right down to the finish between lanes 3 and 4. Who will it be?
According to the time clock, it is lane 3.
Lane 3, Elizabeth Jacob with a time of 1:24.68. Beating her prior time by almost 6 seconds. Actually, it looks like just a little over 6 seconds. Lane 4 in second place was Hannah Champagne of John Stark with a time of 1:25.37, beating her prior time by almost 7 seconds. Third place was Naomi Prevost of John Stark in lane 2, beating her prior time by almost 4 seconds. Lane 5, Sabrina Smith of Milford. She has touched the wall, but again, we do not have a time, leading me to believe that there may be something wrong with the timer on that end. And Phoenix Irish in lane 1 is heading down for what should be the final leg of her swim. Phoenix, as always, demonstrating her persistence in these events. She is a strong, strong swimmer, and she does not give up.
She's quite the competitor.
And the cheering on the sidelines now growing louder for Phoenix as she comes down to the end of her event. That cheering coming not just from her teammates, but from other swimmers from other teams as well. Good show of sportsmanship.
Coming to the wall.
And Phoenix will touch with a time of just over 3:05. Phoenix coming into the event with a time of 2:17. And she will end this one. The timer's not showing, but at the moment she touched, I saw it was just about 3:05 and some change. Next event, heat 2 of 4. Sorry, not next event, next heat.
Heat.
In the water, we have Julianne de Graffenried of Milford in lane 1, Alyssa Sanguillo of Goffstown in lane 2, Erica Faucher of Milford in lane 3, Rita Peace of Goffstown in lane 4, Catherine Rayano of Milford in lane 5, and Angel Fendiana of Dover in lane 6. Alyssa in lane 2, Rita in lane 4, our Goffstown swimmers. And it does look like the race is between lanes 3 and 4 at the moment. Erica Faucher of Milford and Rita Peace of Goffstown. Erica Faucher of Milford with a slight lead.
At the turn, Erica definitely has a slight lead over lane 4, Rita. But Rita's hanging in there.
She is definitely hanging in there. She's only about a half a body length behind. We'll see how they do at the wall. For a lot of these swimmers, the turn at the wall ends up being the defining moment for the race. A well-executed turn can make up a lot of that distance. But Erica Faucher of Milford in lane 3 has now taken a full body length worth of lead over Rita Peace in lane 4. Erica Faucher coming in with a time of 1:21.72. She will touch at 1:20.21, beating her previous time by about a second and a half. Rita Peace, Goffstown, coming in second place with a time of 1:23.51, which just slightly beats her prior time.
And then lane 2. Alyssa came in at 1:40.
Excellent. Heat 3. Charlotte Ramsey in lane 1 for Dover. Kylie George in lane 2 for Dover. Jenna Sheeta for Goffstown. Justine Watterson in Goffstown. Maddie Smith for Wilton. And Tegan Bevaquah for Goffstown. Goffstown swimmers are in lanes 3, 4, and 6. And in lane 3, Jenna Sheeta taking the lead, getting some tough competition from Kylie George of Dover in lane 2. That is a neck-and-neck race between those two swimmers, but it does look like Jenna Sheeta in lane 3 is managing to stay slightly ahead. She will make her turn. Boy, that was a near simultaneous turn. Both swimmers pulling hard. Down to their last turn. Jenna.
It is still neck and neck.
It really is. Kylie George of Dover is giving Jenna Sheeta of Goffstown a very tough battle here. And it looks like Kylie George is pulling a little bit ahead. And she is. She is now about a half a body length ahead of Jenna Sheeta of Goffstown. And it will be Kylie George in lane 2 with a time of 1:08. And in lane 2 will be Jenna Sheeta with a time of 1:09.
Best time for her.
Excellent. Heat 4 of 4. Olivia Tracy of Dover, Allie de Graffenried of Milford, Maeve Hunt of John Stark, Lillian Chappell of Milford, Meredith Wood of Dover, and Molly Mahoney of Dover. Swimmers are on the boards. At the bell, they're in the water. Very well executed dive from Maeve Hunt of John Stark in lane 3 has given her an early advantage, and she will be first to touch the wall. Very strong kickoff. Battle is on between lanes 3 and 4.
For second place.
Lane 4, Lillian Chappell of Milford. Lane 2, Allie de Graffenried of also of Milford is battling for second, but Maeve Hunt and Lillian Chappell taking very clear leads now. Not sure what happened there, but Allie de Graffenried of Milford in lane 2 had a very strong showing, and something happened at the wall there, so she ended up lagging behind quite a bit.
Maeve Hunt has a commanding lead.
Very. She will take this event easily. And Lillian Chappell should follow her up in second place in lane 4. And in lane 3, Maeve has taken it with a time of 56. Lillian Chappell will take it with a time of
101.
101. Next event, event 12, boys 100-yard freestyle. 3 heats. Joshua Anderson of Milford in lane 2, Nick Sherrist of Goffstown in lane 3, and Ben Mayu of Milford in lane 4. Nick coming into the event with a time of 1:30.91. At the horn, we've got Joshua Anderson of Milford in lane 2, taking a very strong lead. He just surged ahead of the other 2 swimmers. Nick Sherrist in lane 3 is coming down to the wall. Joshua Anderson had no time coming into the event, so this is not a surprising outcome as we saw earlier in the event. And as Rick was mentioning, sometimes swimmers coming in with no time end up being the strongest swimmers of the event. Joshua Anderson is definitely displaying that now. Nick Sherrist touching the wall, coming down for his turn.
Joshua Anderson had that incredible time during the first heat during the 200 freestyle earlier in the meet.
He did, and he's putting that prowess on display here as well. For the 100-yard freestyle, he will be coming in with a time of 59.54. Nick Sherrist is on his final leg. Again, Nick coming in with a time of 1:30.91. If he can surge here, he should beat that. We're at 1:12 on the clock now. He's very close to the wall. Pulling in for his last 10 feet. And he will be at the wall with a time of
I think it was like 1:21.
It looked that way. The timer is blanked out for a moment. Waiting to see the time for Nick in lane 3. Third place is Ben Mayu of Milford. And not too sure what those times are. Those aren't the times. Okay.
Those were the splits.
Those were the
Well,
splits.
that
Okay.
was his second split, so I don't know what.
Okay. Well, anyways, heat 2 of 3 in the water. Brady Mitchell, lane 1 for Milford. Lane 2, James O'Prey of Milford. Cameron Mitchell in lane 3 for Milford. Brendan Lee for Dover. Lorenzo Poloni of Milford. And Carter Duclos for John Stark in lane 6. And it looks like we do not have a lane 6 swimmer, so just the 5 lanes. Looks like lane 3, Cameron Mitchell of Milford. Had a very good lead, but Brendan Lee of Dover
Slowly
taking that up.
disappearing.
But at the wall, Cameron Mitchell in lane 3.
The last
still in the lead.
25.
This is going to be a tight race to the finish. This is where it comes down to that fatigue that we were talking about earlier.
And it
And
looks like
it
lane
look-
5 was overtaken. Lane
And
4.
I think you're right. Lane 4 is going to be the winner with a time of 1:09. So Brendan Lee of Dover beating his previous time of 1:10 by about a second. Heat 3 of 3. Riley Kenyon of Dover. Parker Bell of Goffstown in lane 2. Aiden Mahoney of Dover. Elliot Anderson of Goffstown. Ryan Lau of Goffstown. And Adam Silly of Dover. Goffstown swimmers in lanes 2, 4, and 5. Swimmers in the water at the bell. And a tight race between lanes 3 and 4. In lane 4 again is Elliot Anderson for Goffstown. Aiden Mahoney of Dover just barely keeping a lead by about a head over Elliot. Elliot is one of the stronger Goffstown swimmers for the boys team.
Elliot, a junior, third year with the team, co-captain. Very
And
tight race coming into the final turn.
it is. Elliot is not falling off hardly at all. Aiden is still maintaining his lead in lane 3. Elliot in lane 4. And boy, this is very tight.
I think Elliot took it.
Nope. Aiden taking it out with a time of 54.07, but Elliot in lane 4 very close with 54.28.
It is the best time for Elliot. previously a 59.19.
Excellent.
Ryan had a time of 104.56, which is also a best time for him. And Parker had a time of 106, which is a slightly slower than his best time.
Next event, event 13, girls 500-yard freestyle. In the water for Goffstown in lane 1 will be Johanna Dillaway. Megan Donahue in lane 2 for Dover. Elaine Dennis in lane 3 for Milford. Elizabeth Wydra in lane 4 for Dover. And Lillian Chappelle in lane 5 for Milford. Coming up to the turn, we have Elaine Dennis for Milford in lane 3 with a slight lead. This is a very tight race. These girls are very, very close going down to the wall. But at the turn, it will be Elaine Dennis of Milford. A well-executed turn by Elizabeth Wydra in lane 4 of Dover has kept her right battling for that lead spot. Elaine Dennis in lane 3 continuing to keep the lead. Elizabeth Wydra in lane 4 now falling back from that second place spot that she held and being overtaken by Lillian Chappelle of Milford in lane 5. Coming down to the finish, it looks like it will be Elaine Dennis in lane 3. If she can maintain this lead. .500-yard freestyle, the longest event of these meets. Elaine Dennis maintaining that lead.
This is all about pacing yourself. You know, you go out strong for the first couple of laps, but then you got to get into a groove and save something for the end.
It is. You had made a comment earlier in the meet with another event that you've got a balance between pacing yourself and making sure that you don't give up too much of the lead at the same time. This is typically the event where you will see the most support from their team members out of the water. You'll hear a lot of cheering going on around the fringes of the pool. You'll see the sign holders at the end of the pool that tell them which lap that they are on, cheering them on. And usually as it comes down to the last couple of laps, the teams will begin to assemble at the end of the pool, and you'll hear a lot of cheering for their respective swimmers. Again, a reminder in lane 1, Johanna Dillaway representing Goffstown. Johanna coming into this event with a previous time of 7:21.94. That gives you an idea of how long these events are. The times are typically 6 to 7 minutes for the girls.
Johanna, a sophomore, second year with the team.
Elaine Dennis in lane 3 from Milford, keeping that strong lead. Anyone who has ever swam laps in a pool, either for exercise or for leisure, can understand the amount of stamina that you have to have pulling this many laps.
I can honestly say I can't comment.
A lot of folks may not understand the full body workout nature that is swimming. Unlike some other sports where there are key muscle groups that you use, swimming is truly an all body activity. Folks, we'll be back at home on Tuesday, January 15th. That will be our final home meet of the season. On that night, we'll be holding our annual seniors events where we will be honoring this year's senior swimmers. Be a good time to come down and see the team that represents Goffstown High and get to see how they've been performing, get to see the seniors be honored. It's always a fun time. They'll decorate up the stands and put the school colors up with ribbons and things of that nature.
There's the bell, so they're on the final lap.
So Elaine Danis of Milford on her final lap. As Rick just mentioned, the official down at the beginning of the pool rings that bell to alert the swimmer that they are on their final lap. And as I mentioned previously, you can hear the room begin to grow a little louder with the cheers. And Elaine Danis touches the wall with a time of 6 minutes, .72. That bests her previous time by almost 4 seconds. In second place in lane 2 will be, in second place in lane 4 will be Elizabeth Wider of Dover, coming in at a time of 6:05, besting her previous time of 6:13. Lane 5 and third place, Lillian Chappelle of Milford, coming in with a time of 6:22 and going out with a time of 6:09. That is a significant improvement.
Quite the drop.
Joanna Dillaway in lane 1 for Goffstown. Heading down, I believe this should be her final leg. No?
She's got another lap.
Another lap to go, okay. That's the other thing about the long 500-yard events is it's very easy to lose track of the laps.
Which is why you got the lane counters.
Yes. Joanna touching the wall and making her turn for her last leg. A couple of the other swimmers waiting at the wall, cheering her on. Just saw some clapping and support for her. And Johanna touching the wall with a time of 7 minutes, 53 seconds. As we head into the boys' version of this event, the boys' 500-yard freestyle. One heat in the water will be Will Wheat of Dover in lane 2, Alex Estano in lane 3 for Goffstown, and Ben Fortier in lane 4 for Dover. Alex Estano heading out in front, coming into this event with a time of 5:28. For those in the community who received the local newspaper, the Neighborhood News, you may recognize Alex from this week's cover photo. Neighborhood News did a very nice story on the Goffstown swim and gymnastics teams. And as a part of that story, Alex was the featured swimmer on the cover of the Neighborhood News and also mentioned in the article itself.
And oddly enough, in the article, one of Alex's stronger swim strokes is more of a sprint 50-yard freestyle, and they've got him in the longest event tonight. So there is some actually friendly competition going on between the two co-captains of the boys team, Alex and Elliot. Currently, Elliot holds the record for this event, and Alex wants it.
Okay.
So they will trade back and forth.
Do we know why Elliot isn't competing tonight?
I think the coach just kind of mixes it up a little bit, not putting the swimmers in the same event so that they can expand their skill sets. You know, as I mentioned, long distance is not Alex's forte, but yet he swims it every now and then. Just like this event is Elliot's, you know, bread and butter. And every now and then she'll stick him in a 50 freestyle or a 100 event that
Coach Jessica Croto in, I believe, her 4th year coaching the team.
yes.
And she makes those decisions for where the swimmers are going to go, of course. And Rick, as you mentioned a moment ago, she's trying to mix things up a little bit so that swimmers aren't getting too comfortable in their events, but at the same time using swimmers where they have some strength.
The goal is to make a cut time being a best time that gets you into the state finals, state championship meet. And as you progress throughout the year, as you train and strengthen and you get faster, those times start to drop and you get ranked in the division. And as long as you make a faster time than what the state deems an acceptable cut limit,
Right.
you get to participate in the championship meet at the end of the season. Alex does have a commanding lead over this event in this heat. Alex coming up to the last 100.
Again, this is event 14 for the night. We have a total of 22 events. Next event coming up is going to be the girls' 200-yard freestyle relay. There's 2 heats for that event. Because it is a relay event, there's 4 swimmers per lane.
Here comes the bell.
Official ringing the bell for Alex Estano in lane 3, representing his last lap. With the 200-yard freestyle relay coming up, again with 4 swimmers in each lane, there are a lot of swimmers that are going to be represented between both of the heats. Alex coming down to the finish. Again, Alex coming into this event with a time of 5:28.05, and he will touch the wall at 5:32. In second place in lane 4 will be Ben Fortier of Dover. Ben coming in with a time of 5:45.08, going out with a time of 5:53.67. Lane 2, Will Wheat for Dover. Still a little bit left to go.
Yep. Last 50.
This is the last 50. Will being cheered on by his teammates and other swimmers as he comes down for the last 20 feet. And touching the wall for a time of 6 minutes, 48 seconds. Coming in with a time of 6:45, so about 3 seconds slower, but on an event this long, 3 seconds doesn't count for much. So good showing.
It isn't a long event.
Okay, again, event 15, the girls 200-yard freestyle relay. Heat 1 of 2. In the water in lane 2 for Milford, we're going to have Catherine Rayano kicking off. In lane 3 for Dover, Cassandra Corman. In lane 4 for Wilton, Elizabeth Jacob. Starting the relay event with the freestyle stroke. In lane 3 for Dover, Cassandra Corman, 15 years old, taking a very strong lead. Lane 4, Elizabeth Jacobs struggled a little bit with her turn, but still keeping up. Back in lane 2, Catherine Rayano of Milford. But at the wall, it will be Cassandra Corman. And in the water behind her, Charlotte Ramsey, also 15. Charlotte helping to maintain that lead. However, Maddie Smith in the water for Wilton in lane 4, making up some of that distance. And a very strong kick off the wall for Maddie Smith of Wilton is allowing her to pull almost right up alongside Charlotte Ramsey in lane 3. But it will still be Charlotte Ramsey for Dover in lane 3 at the wall. Angel Fendiana will be taking over for her. And in lane 4, Sophia Sistach will be taking over, as Julianne de Graffenried touches the wall, and Anamika Usman for Milford in lane 2 is in the water. In lane 3, Angel Fendiana holding on to that lead for Dover. Sophia Sistach for Wilton.
Is growing a little bit. She's got probably about 2 body lengths now.
Yep. And back in lane 2, Anamika Usman fighting to make up some time. Emily Nelson now in the water for Dover in lane 3. While Ava Rondeau in lane 4 has just blasted past Emily Nelson in lane 3. This event has suddenly changed drastically. Back in lane 2, Erica Faucher for Milford, coming up to the wall for her turn. But taking the event in lane 4, it will be Wilton.
And then coming on strong at the end is the Milford team.
Back in lane 2, Erica Faucher, 15 years old. And she will definitely touch the wall for a second place finish. Back in lane 3, Emily Nelson, coming in for Dover. And she touches the wall. Heat 2 of 2. In the water in lane 1 for Dover will be Molly Mahoney. Lane 2 for John Stark will be Anna Ishak. Lane 3 for Goffstown will be Alyssa Sanguillo. Lane 4 for Milford will be Ali de Graffenried. And lane 5 for Dover will be Meredith Wood. Again for Goffstown in lane 3, Alyssa Sanguillo. But it is a close race between lanes 2 and 4.
think
John
four's got
Stark
a
and Milford.
Lane 4's got a slight lead.
That is that Milford team. Swimmer Ali de Graffenried. And it will be lane 4 hitting the wall first. Milford, Callista Chappelle taking over. Hannah Laidlaw now taking over in the water for Goffstown in lane 3. Lane 4 has now taken a significant lead under the strong drive by Callista Chappelle.
Lane 1 has come on strong and has taken over 3rd place.
And in the water now for Milford is Lillian Chappelle. And Lillian maintaining that lead. We are neck and neck in lanes 1 and 2 between Dover and John Stark. Final swimmer in the water in lane 3 in lane 4 for Milford is Elaine Dennis. Elaine taking that strong showing in the 500 yard and not showing any signs of fatigue here. And
John Stark team is taking on a strong lead finish for the final 25. Should take second place.
And in lane 4 in first place, it will be the Milford team. And as Rick just mentioned, second place will be John Stark. That strong finish by Maeve Hunt. And we are awaiting Justine Watterson in lane 3 for Goffstown. Goffstown coming in with the time advantage for the event, but unfortunately showing a little less than that here today. Event 16 will be the boys' 200-yard freestyle relay. Same thing we just saw with the girls. Heat 1 of 1 for this event. In lane 1 for Goffstown is Parker Bell. Lane 2 for Dover, Alex Galarno. Lane 3 for Goffstown, Ryan Lau. Lane 4 for Milford, Andrew Bartolomucci. And lane 5 for Dover, Francesco Aversa. Again, Goffstown in lanes 1 and 3. But it is lane 4 under Andrew Bartolomucci for Milford that will get back to the wall first. Taking over for Andrew in lane 4 is Lorenzo Palloni, a 17-year-old.
In the water for Goffstown now is Matthew Jones. Looks like he's making up some time.
Very strong showing by Matthew.
Nice turn.
A beautiful turn. He is making up some significant time.
May have catch. We got Elliot Anderson coming in the water next.
And Elliot, as we know, is very, very fast. And Matthew Jones overtook that Milford swimmer in lane 4. He will be followed by Elliot Anderson, as Rick just mentioned. And Elliot just blasting through the water to get a stronger lead. Elliot will race back to the wall to be replaced by Alex Estano. And as we saw with the last event, this event just drastically changed. What was a strong showing by Milford has now become a Goffstown show all the way. Alex Estano in the water for Goffstown. Already halfway down the pool.
The final leg, though, on the Milford team is very strong. That's the Joshua Anderson swimmer. But I don't think, I think Elliot and Matthew gave him enough of a lead.
They sure did.
So Goffstown coming in with a very strong team.
At the wall for first place is Goffstown. Coming in second place will be Milford under that strong final drive by Joshua Anderson. Joshua Anderson, he's going to be a swimmer to watch.
Yes. And he's only a sophomore.
That was a really fun race to watch, folks. Next event, girls 100-yard backstroke. This is event 17 of 22. 2 heats, heat 1 of 2. We will have Sophia Sestach in lane 2 for Wilton. Casey in lane 3 for John. Maddie Duclos in lane 4 for John Stark as well. Casey, I apologize. I'm not going to attempt your name. Sometimes it's better to remain silent than to actually butcher it.
Sign off, just check, see if my father needs anything.
In lane 3 for John Stark, Casey has the lead and will reach the wall first. Touching and making her turn. Followed in lane 4 by teammate Maddie Duclos. And Sophia Sestach from Wilton in lane 2. Halfway through the event and making her turn, Casey in lane 3 and Maddie in lane 4. Maddie just touching the wall and making her turn. Casey having a very strong lead here. She is nearly a half a pool length lead over her teammate Maddie Duclos. touching the wall and making the turn for the last leg of the 100-yard backstroke. Casey is heading in for her finish. Casey coming in with a time of 1:30.15. We'll see what she ends up with. Teammate Maddie Duclos coming in with a time of 1:36.15. And Sophia Sistach of Wilton coming in with a time of 1:45.18. But Casey will be touching the wall with a time of 1:27.62, beating her previous time by almost 3 full seconds. Very good showing from Casey. Maddie Duclos from John Stark will be coming in and touching the wall with a time of 1:40, looks like 1:43 and some change. And again in lane 2, Sophia Sistach from Wilton coming down for her final leg. And Sophia about 10 feet from the wall now. And she is touching the wall with a time of 2 minutes, 13 seconds. Heat 2. In the water for Milford in lane 1 will be Callista Chappell. In the water for lane 2 will be Phoebe Okola for Dover. Abby Houghton in lane 3 for Dover. Sarah Ferguson in lane 4 for John Stark. And Kylie George for Dover in lane 5. And all 5 ladies are very tight heading down this first leg. But it will be Abby Houghton in lane 3, touching the wall and making her turn. However, Callista Chappell in lane 1 is battling for that second place finish. Abby Houghton, again of Dover, coming in with a time of 1:12 in lane 3. Halfway through the event, she now has a strong lead. She's about a body length ahead of Sarah Ferguson from John Stark in lane 4, and about a body length ahead of Callista Chappell from Milford in lane 1. Abby Houghton of Dover touching the wall, making her final turn. Down the lane she goes. She now has a commanding lead over the other swimmers, and she will take first place, Abby Houghton of Dover. Followed closely, it looks like, by Callista Chappell of Milford in lane 1. Abby Houghton touching for a time of 1:11, beating her previous time of 1:12. Callista Chappell in lane 1 taking a time of 1:14, beating substantially her previous time of 1:29. Great showing by Callista Chappell. Sarah Ferguson from John Stark will take third place in lane 4 at a time of 1:17 and some change. Next up, event 18, the boys 100-yard backstroke. In the water in lane 1 for Dover will be Francesco Aversa. Lane 2 for Dover will be Aiden Mahoney. Lane 3 for Milford, Andrew Bartolomucci. Lane 4 for Dover, Ryan Long. And lane 5 for Goffstown, Matthew Jones. Strong showing right out of the gate from Andrew Bartolomucci of Milford in lane 3. He is taking an early lead. And it looks like Ryan Long of Dover in lane 4 battling out for that second place spot. Halfway through the event, Andrew Bartolomucci maintains his lead. He is about a body length and a half over Ryan Long of Dover. Andrew from Milford coming into the event with a time of 57. He is the only swimmer in the event to have a sub 1 minute time. Heading down to the wall for his final lap. Now with a commanding lead over the rest of the field. Andrew Bartolomucci of Milford in lane 3 will touch the wall for a finish at 59 seconds, slightly slower than his previous time. Coming in second place in lane 4 will be Ryan Long of Dover, and in lane 2, Aiden Mahoney of Dover will take third place. In lane 5 and fourth place will be Matthew Jones with a time of 1:22.14, which does best his previous time of 1:24 by 2 seconds. And waiting now on Francesco Averso of Dover in lane 1, who is about 8 feet from the wall. Francesco coming in with a time of 1:45, and he will touch with a personal best of 1:41. Good showings by all 5 swimmers in that event. Next up, event 19, girls 100-yard breaststroke. 2 heats. Heat 1 of 2 in lane 2 for Goffstown will be Hannah Laidlaw. In lane 3 for Milford will be Anamika Usman. And in lane 4 for Dover will be Emily Nelson. Swimmers are in the water. And it looks like Hannah Laidlaw in lane 2 is taking an early lead, about a half a body length ahead of Anamika Usman. Again, this is the 100-yard breaststroke. Anamika Usman is coming up fast, and she will, boy, they're going to touch the wall simultaneously, make their turns, and it is Hannah Laidlaw off the wall by a very small amount. Hannah now hoping to keep that lead. Anamika is definitely giving her a run for the money, though. The girls are, I was going to say neck and neck, but it looks like Anamika has now pulled ahead just a smidge. Anamika will touch the wall. Last half of the event. Anamika Usman of Milford is in first place so far. Hannah Laidlaw of Goffstown pulling up a very close second. And Emily Nelson of Dover is in third place in lane 4. Anamika and Anamika touching the wall for the last turn. But again, Hannah Laidlaw with a strong push off that wall, and that may be the difference if she can maintain it. Hannah is now in the lead by about a head, and that was thanks entirely to that strong push off the wall at the end there. So Hannah Laidlaw in lane 2. The race is on between her and Anamika Usman of Milford. Coming down to the finish. Hannah is still ahead by about a head, and she will touch the wall at the end. It is Hannah Laidlaw for Goffstown coming in at 1:51. Hannah did not have a time coming into the event, so the 1:51 is her recorded time. Anamika Usman came in with a time of 1:35, but touches with a time of just under 1:55. And now waiting on Emily Nelson of Dover. Emily Nelson of Dover coming in with a time of 2:45. That was a very close race between Hannah and Anamika. Hannah did a fantastic job pulling that one out at the end.
And like you said, it had a lot to do with that final kick turn at the end.
It did. That made the difference. Anamika actually touched the wall ahead of Hannah, but as soon as Hannah made her turn and kicked off, she took that slight lead that she held right on to the end. The crowd cheering for Emily Nelson. Emily Nelson coming in, touching the wall. And she comes in. That's the split. Not sure what her final time was. So we'll have to wait for that. Heat 2 of 2. In the water for Dover in lane 1, Elena Chan. In the water for Dover in lane 2, Olivia Tracy. For Wilton in lane 3, Ava Rondeau. John Stark in lane 4 is Anna Ishak. And lane 5 for Goffstown is Lily Cataret. And it is lane 3, Ava Rondeau for Wilton, who has taken the early lead. She will touch the wall, but Anna Ishak is very close behind her. And Lily in lane 5 is actually putting up a very strong battle. Coming down to the wall for the turn.
Slight lead in lane 3.
Ava Rondeau for Wilton. Still maintaining her lead.
But Anna's right there.
She really is. That battle for second place. Lily has fallen off in lane 5 just a little bit, but she is still pushing. Last turn.
Last 25. I don't know if there's enough room for Anna to catch her.
Nope. This one looks like it will go to Ava Rondeau of Wilton. Ava coming into this event with a time of 1:19.18. She will not beat that time here. Touching the wall at 1:21.65. Anna coming in behind her for a second place finish at 1:24.91. And in lane 5, Lily coming in at a time of 1:29.56, which beats her previous time of 1:30. So personal best there for Lily.
Good job.
Event 20 of 22, boys 100-yard breaststroke. The boys' version of what we just watched the girls do in the last two heats. One heat for this event for the boys. Ethan Edwards of Goffstown will be in lane 1. James Wheat for Dover will be in lane 2. Cam Foley for Dover in lane 3. Cameron Mitchell of Milford in lane 4. And Patrick Gunter of Dover in lane 5. Again, Ethan Edwards for Goffstown, lane 1. Ethan coming into this event with a time of 1:36.38. Is it just me, or does that swimmer still have his swimmer in lane 3? It may have just been the reflection. It looked like he had his goggles still up on his cap.
Oh,
I think it was just a reflection. And that swimmer would be Cam Foley of Dover in lane 3, taking an early lead. Ethan Edwards in lane 1, coming up strong.
Yeah.
Ethan has just been such a joy to watch this year. Again, as Rick mentioned earlier in the broadcast, this is Ethan's first year. He is a senior, and he has just been doing extremely well for a first-year participant. Not sure what his swimming background is, but definitely
zero.
from what we hear, not much at all. But he's just doing extremely well.
He's learned all the strokes, sometimes minutes before a race.
Wow, nice. Well, Cam Foley of Dover is definitely going to take this event in lane 3. And it looks like, if it holds, he will be followed up by Cameron Mitchell from Milford in lane 4. Lots of cheering going on right now for Ethan Edwards in lane 1 of Goffstown. But the event will be taken by Cam Foley in lane 3. Cam taking it with a time of 1:13. And that bests his previous time of 1:16 by 3 seconds. Second place in lane 4 is Cameron Mitchell of Milford. Looks like third place will be lane 5, Patrick Gunter. Patrick is swimming for Dover. And Ethan will take fourth place with a time of 1:32.47, which beats his previous time by 4 seconds.
Great job, Ethan.
Great job, Ethan. Okay, coming down towards the end with event 21 of 22, the girls' 400-yard freestyle relay. Lane 1 for Dover will be Cassandra Corman. In the water for Goffstown in lane 2 is Jessica Smith. Elizabeth Wydra in lane 3 for Dover. Lillian Chappelle in lane 4 for Milford. Meredith Wood in lane 5 for Dover. And Ava Rondeau again in the water for Wilton in lane 6. Right now it is a close race between lanes 2 and 4, with lane 6 being in the lead. Again, that lane 6 swimmer for Wilton, Ava Rondeau, already showed what a strong swimmer she was in her last event. A little alliteration going on there with all the S words. I'm pretty sure I just said schwimmer instead of swimmer. Ava holding on to that lead in lane 6, swimming for Wilton.
Not much of a lead, though.
She will be replaced in the water by teammate Elizabeth Jacob. Jessica Smith in lane 2 will be replaced by Jenna Shida. The Wilton swimmers are in the water. Milford swimmers are in the water. Jenna Shida has taken over for Jessica Smith in lane 2.
And she's taking over second place.
She is.
And she's closing in on first. She's keeping the lead isn't growing.
Joanna Dillaway
keeping
will
it
take
tight.
over as the next swimmer. Halfway through Jenna's run, she is showing a very, very strong effort here. It is
A little bit
still
of fatigue is kicking in, though. You can tell she's about to lose second place.
We'll see if she can hang on to it, and if not, hopefully Johanna Dillaway will be able to make up some of that. And she has lost that second place. But this is a team sport, and as we saw with the last boys relay, anything can happen. When you throw 4 very different swimmers into the water, one right after the other, one swimmer's strength can make up for another swimmer's weakness, and it can change the outcome of the event. Lane 4, Milford, very, very strong. They've got Ali de Graffenried in the water. Ali touching the wall and making her turn, headed back in lane 4, swimming for Milford.
They do have a slight lead, about a body length. This could be very interesting because usually the last leg is sometimes reserved for your fastest swimmer.
Okay.
As you mentioned, you know, the weakness of one could be made up by the strength of another. And it's it's almost like a chess match. You know, do you put your fastest swimmer at the lead leg or the end leg?
Right. So a little strategy involved. That Milford team in lane 4 coming in with a team time of 4:12.13, and it looks like they will, I was going to say they will beat it, but it's not quite close enough. Their team time of 4:12.13. This time around they will come in with a time of 4:15.98, followed very closely at 4:17.30 by that Dover team in lane 3.
Goffstown teams coming in for their fight. Touching the wall.
Jess
third
McGregor.
place.
Jess McGregor touching for Goffstown with a time of 4:31.41 for the team, about 10 seconds slower than their previous time. And we will be headed into the final event for the night. The boys 400-yard freestyle relay, again, just a same event as we just saw the girls do. Goffstown will not be represented in this event. This event will be 3 teams, Milford and 2 teams, Milford, Dover, and Dover. And here we go with the last event of the night, the boys 400-yard freestyle relay. In the water for Milford in lane 2 is Andrew Bartolomucci. Lane 3 is Aiden Mahoney for Dover, and lane 4 is Will Wheat for Dover. Very tight race between lanes 2 and 3. Andrew Bartolomucci for Milford in lane 2 has a slight lead, about ahead of Aiden Mahoney for Dover in lane 3. Touching the wall, making his turn. Andrew Bartolomucci maintaining that lead, actually expanding that lead. He is now 3/4 of a body length to the wall, ahead of Aiden Mahoney. Heading down to the wall is Andrew Bartolomucci of Milford in lane 2. He will be replaced in the water by Cameron Mitchell. Aiden Mahoney in lane 3 will be replaced by Ryan Long. And in lane 4, Will Wheat will be replaced by Ethan Gygax. Cameron Mitchell in lane 2, trying to hang on to that early lead that Andrew presented him.
And he's not going to do it.
He doesn't look like he is, does it? So we have Ryan Long in lane 3, who is now pulled into first place. That Milford team has fallen back to second place. Ryan Long has driven a huge lead now. And he is now a couple body lengths ahead of Cameron Mitchell in lane 2. Ryan Long coming down to the wall for his final turn. When he reaches back to the other end, he will be replaced in the water by Ben Fortier. Cameron Mitchell in lane 2 will be replaced by James O'Prey. Ethan Gygax in lane 4 will be replaced by Riley Kenyon. Coming down to the wall is Ryan Long.
So halfway through the event,
Taking over for him in the water is Ben Fortier.
the Dover team, the Dover A team in lane 3 has a commanding lead.
James O'Prey in lane 2, doing his best to try to make up some time. This gap that has been created by the Dover team in lane 3, though, I would posit is going to be insurmountable.
Yeah,
Very strong showing by that
the
Dover
Dover
18.
team's got almost a full length of the pool lead.
That Dover A team coming into the event with a team time of 3 minutes and 40 seconds exactly. The Milford A team coming into the event with a time of 4 minutes and 15 seconds. So you can see the disparity in the team times. And in the water for that Dover team is Noah Kerr, the final swimmer for the event. For that Dover A team. And taking over for Milford in lane 2 is Joshua Anderson. We've seen a lot out of Joshua Anderson tonight. If he were an earlier swimmer in the event, I would venture that he could have made up substantial time for the team. But as the last swimmer for this event, I don't think even his skills are going to be enough.
Nope.
No.
Just in sense that Noah Kerr is just as good.
Yep.
He's holding his own.
And that Dover A team takes it. Noah Kerr touching the wall. Team time of 3 minutes 49 seconds, .35. So a little slower than their incoming time. But a very good showing by the team. Joshua Anderson driving hard. Keeping his team on the map for that second place finish. About 8 feet from the wall. And he touches for a team time of 4:15.99. So still in that 4 minute, 15 second range that they came in with, but just slightly slower in the tenths of seconds. Dover B team finishes out the event with a time of 4 minutes, 20 seconds. And that, my friends, is the end of the January 4th, 2019 Goffstown Swim Team Home Meet. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. See you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, Tuesday, January 15th. We will be back here at home for Goffstown Television. I am Jeremy Jones.
I'm Rick Castano.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Hey.